साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त काञ्चना गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणी जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandat pranams Mataji.
हरे कृष्णा माताजी दंड प्रणाम anyone wants to recite the shloka?
Yes, Mataji. I'll recite.
Yes,
16.
Yeah, from 16 Mataji.
नामकारी बहुधा निज सर्वशक्ति तत्र पिता नियमता स्मरणेन कालः एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवान् ममापि दुर्दैवमीदृशमिया जाने नानुराग. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. My Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, in your holy name there is all good fortune for the living entity, and therefore you have many names such as Krishna and Govinda, by which you expand yourselves. You have invested all your potencies in those names, and there are no hard and fast rules for remembering them. My dear Lord, although you bestow such mercy upon the fallen, conditioned souls by liberally teaching your holy name, I am so unfortunate that I commit offenses while chanting the holy name, and therefore I do not achieve attachment for chanting. Shall I go on, Mataji?
Oh, you can read this, Miss Mataji. You can read till 20th verse.
Yeah, okay. Text 17. अनेक लोकेरा वंच अनेक प्रकारा कृपा ते करीला अनेका नामेरा प्रचारा. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Because people vary in their desires, you have distributed various holy names by your mercy. Text 18. Kaite shute yata तथा नामलया काल देशे नियम नहीं सर्व सिद्धि हया. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Regardless of time or place, one who chants the holy name, even while eating or sleeping, attains all perfection. Text 19. सर्व शक्ति नाम दिला करिया विभाग हमारा दुर्दैव नामे नाही अनुराग. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. You have invested your full potencies in each individual holy name, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attachment for chanting your holy names. Text 20. ये रूप लाइले नाम प्रेम उपजया तारा दक्षण सुना स्वरूप राम राया. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, O Swarupa Damodar Goswami and Ramananda Raya, hear from me the symptoms of how one should chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra to awaken very easily one's dormant love for Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. I think one more, no?
No, Mataji. No, Mataji.
Yeah, ठीक है, okay.
Thank you, Mataji. So we are going through these verses of Shikshashtakam, which is the essence of all the scriptures. This is the Ashtakam, 8 verses. It is not continuously over here, but it is been like it's given one verse and then a little explanation about that, and then again the next verse. So in the last session, you might have recited the first verse, that is a shloka number 12, Chetodharpanamarjanam. So this comes in the Shikshastakam, which is been given to us by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has not written any book. He has just provided this Shikshastakam. Shiksha means instructions. Ashtakam means 8. So he has given us 8 instruction, which is more than enough for us to understand about devotional services and how it should be performed. So also through these 8 instructions, we can know how it is also related with 9 process of devotional practices. So what are the 9 practices, 9 devotional practices? Anyone can tell?
Krishna Mataji, Shravanam,
Yeah,
Kirtanam,
Kirtanam.
and then Vishnu Smaranam,
Yeah, Smaranam.
and then
Vandanam.
Padasevanam,
Vishnu's
पादसेवनम्
Padasevanam.
अर्चनं वन्दनं
Dasyam,
सत्यम्
Dasyam.
आत्मनिवेदनम्
Atmanivedanam.
Yes. So all this 8 process of devotional practices we have seen. So in the first verse, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, what is he signifying there? Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. So he is mainly concentrating that we need to do Shravanam and Kirtanam. Kirtanam, the holy name. The chanting of the holy name has been stressed in the first verse. So here, when we recited the second shloka, which is that shloka number 16. नाम्नाम् अकारि बहुधा निजसर्वः शक्तिः तत्रापित नियमित स्मरणेन कालः. So what is it speaking about? Smaranena kalaha. Etadrishi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi durdaivam idrisham iha jani nanu anuragaha. So here in this shloka, the Lord is telling us to remember his holy name, and there is no hard and fast rule for that. So here in this verse, we are mainly concentrating on smaranam, remembrance of the Lord. So that comes over in this verse, one among the 9 process of devotional practices. Similarly, or in all other verses, it comes. Now, what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu trying to tell us here? That he has given many names. So, how many names of Lord are there? There are billions and millions, right? More than billions. But what is the Lord trying to tell us here? That we need to just remember them. So first verse we learnt about to do Shravanam, Kirtanam, hear about the glories of the holy name, hear about the Lord, chant the holy name. Here it is to remember him. But what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also telling? That the Lord has mercifully given the holy name to us. It is the good fortune for any living entity. They can just take the holy name of the Lord. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is humbly telling that he is unfortunate that he cannot chant the holy name because he is committing so many offenses and there is no attachment for chanting the holy name of the Lord. You can mute Mataji. So, why is the Lord telling that it's a good fortune for the living entity? Because there is no difference between the Lord and his holy name. So we have many names like Krishna, Govinda, Vasudeva, right? So we can take any name of the Lord, and there is no difference in the Lord and in his holy name. But still, we are not able to chant the holy name. Here, actually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is mentioning he is mentioning himself that he is unfortunate, but he is actually mentioning the symptoms of the fallen conditioned souls. That even though we have got this mercy of chanting the holy name of the Lord, which is as equal to the Lord Himself. So Srila Prabhupada mentions that when we are chanting the holy name of the Lord is dancing on our tongue. But we have not come to this real, at least I have not come to this realization that the Lord chants when I'm chanting the holy name of the Lord, that the Lord is dancing on my tongue. So so that is been mentioned here that we need to chant and remember the holy name of the Lord. So basically, here is that we can realize that our inability to take up to this chanting, even though we have got the good fortune, we have got the mercy of the Lord to chant the holy name. And here, what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Anek is telling that there are so many names of him uh, by his mercy. And why there are so many names, why it has been distributed in various holy names? Because people have different desires. So the Lord has come in different ways, in different avatars to show them mercy. So there are different holy names, and so there are unlimited holy names of the Lord. And each holy name is extremely powerful. So we have one example where we know that when Lord Ram is building the bridge to Lanka, so what the Vanarasiva does, they just write the holy name of the Lord Ram, on the stone, and they just chant the holy name of the Lord, Shai Shri Ram, and then just put it in the water, and the stone is floating over there, right? So that is where we can see the extremely powerful or the strength of the holy name of the Lord. A similar incident in Ramayana where um, Ravana's brother sends two of his assistants to go and meet Sri Ram and talk about the proceedings of how they will be coming over there. So he just writes in a chit of paper Lord Ram's name, but he would not reveal it to his assistants. He will just close the chit, will close the paper into 2 3 folds and gives them, and just tells them that just show this paper in front of the ocean, and you can just cross the ocean over there. It won't be any difficulty for you. But one thing you have to remember, that you should not unfold this paper and see what is written in this paper. You should just go and stand near the ocean, and the ocean water will separate, and there will be a path where you can go to and meet Lord Ram. So this assistants, what they did, they just, as instructed by Vibhishan, Ravana's brother, they just went up, they kept the paper, showed the paper, and in front of them below, the ocean water is got separated into two halves, and there is a path to go and meet the other side of the ocean. So they started walking around in that way, and when they were half the distance, so they were very curious, right? The curiosity kills the cat. So at that time, they felt that we should open the paper and unfold the paper and find out what is written in that, because they could not believe that the ocean has went apart and there is a path where they can easily walk to the other side of the ocean. Now one of the assistants told, no, Vibhishan has mentioned us, has warned us that if we open, then the path won't be there. The ocean water will come back again and we will be drowned in the water. But still, they again went little ahead, and now both of them were very curious to find out what is written in the paper. So they unfold the paper, and what they find in the paper, Lord Ram's name is written. So, and as they opened it, then there is the ocean water coming back and settling it down, and thus the both of them just getting drowned in it. So that is how the power of holy name is there. So that is why it has been mentioned that there is no difference in the Lord and the holy name of the Lord. Like, for example, if I'm hungry, if I feel like eating gulab jamun, and if I keep telling gulab jamun, that does not help me get the taste of gulab jamun just by telling the name. I need to personally eat the gulab jamun and release the sweetness of it. So, as in this material world, the name is not equal to the object, right? But in spiritual world, Krishna and the holy name, when we chant, there is no difference. So, name is equal to the object in the spiritual world. So, it is just a question of our faith and our devotional practices. When we are strongly practicing, then we will be able to understand and accept it practically, that there is no difference in the holy name and the Lord himself. So going ahead, so even while eating or sleeping, regardless of time or place, if we just chant the holy name, we can attain the perfection. And so here again, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is mentioning that how much potency, how much powerful is there in each of the holy name. There are so many names of the Lord, so in each there is so much potency, but we have no taste for the holy name, so we don't have that attachment for chanting the holy name. We are doing just a sadhana bhakti. So what we are trying to do, we are just trying to be obedient by following the whatever our guru has told us, that we need to chant 16 rounds, minimum of 16 rounds. We have to follow 4 regulative principles. So the do's and don'ts of what should be followed in practicing devotional practices. So we are only practicing devotees. We have not achieved the perfection, but we are on the path. So we are just trying to be obediently trying to follow the practices. So, and in 20th, what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu telling to Swarup Damodar and Ramanand Rai, that how one should chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So when we chant the one Hare Krishna Mahamantra is actually enough for us to awaken that love for Krishna. But there is so much of uh, there is so much of uh, dust accumulated, which we have learned in the 12th verse, that in our heart, that we need to chant the holy name and cleansify our heart. So here now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going to tell them that how one should chant the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, so that we can awaken the love for Krishna. So Sumati Mataji, you can recite from 21 verse.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Trinadapi sunichena taroriva sahishnuna manina manadena kirtaniya sada hari. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One who thinks himself lower than the grass, who is more tolerant than a tree, and who does not expect personal honor but is always prepared to give all respect to others, can very easily always chant the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
You can read the next verse.
Yes, Mataji. उत्तमः के माने तृणाधमा दुई प्रकारे सहिष्णुता करे वृक्ष समा. Translation: These are the symptoms of one who chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Although he is very exalted, he thinks himself lower than the grass on the ground, and like a tree, he tolerates everything in two ways. Text 23. Vrikshayena Katileha Kichuna Bolaya Shukaya Maileha Kare Pani Namagaya. Translation: When a tree is cut down, it does not protest, and even when drying up, it does not ask anyone for water.
Yeah.
Text 24. Ye magaye tare deya apana dhana Dharma vrishti sahe anera karaye rakshana. Translation: The tree delivers its fruits, flowers, and whatever else it possesses to anyone and everyone. It tolerates scorching heat and torrents of rain, yet it still gives shelter to others.
Yeah. So Krishnamurti Prabhu, you can recite from 25th verse.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Uttamahaya Vaishnava Abe Nirabhimana Jiva Sammana Dibejani Jive Sammana Dibejani Krishna Adhisthana. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. Although a Vaishnava is the most exalted person, he is prideless and gives all respect to everyone, knowing everyone to be the resting place of Krishna. Text 26. Yeyi mataha yeyi Krishna namalaya Sri Krishna charane tandra prema upajaya. Translation by Sri Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. If one chants the holy name of Lord Krishna in this manner, he will certainly awaken his dormant love for Krishna's lotus feet. कायीते प्रभुरा दाई न बदिला शुद्ध भक्ति कृष्ण ताने मागीते लागिला. Translation by Sri Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. As Lord Chaitanya spoke in this way, his humility increased, and he began praying to Krishna that he could discharge pure devotional service. प्रेम प्रेमेर स्वभाव यह प्रेमर संबंध से ही माने कृष्ण मोरा नहीं प्रेम गंधा. Translation by C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. Wherever there is a relationship of love of Godhead, its natural symptom is that The devotee does not think himself a devotee. Instead, he always thinks that he has not even a drop of love for Krishna. Shall I read
Okay.
purport, Mataji?
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna,
No,
Mataji.
Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Dandavas pranams.
Done, Prabhu. So we'll go back. Yeah. So we are in the third verse of Shikshastakam. Trinadapi Sunichena Taroriva Saishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. So in this, actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching us how we have to chant the holy name. In this, it is actually how what is the procedure of chanting the holy name. So in this, what are they telling? Trinadapi Sunechena. So and Taroriva Sahishnuna. So one who thinks himself lower than the grass and more tolerant than a tree. And so these are the two things, thinking himself or herself lower than the grass and who is more tolerant than a tree. The third one is Amanina Manadena, who does not expect any personal honor and is also giving respect to others. So these four things, these are the four symptoms which should be present in a devotee. If these symptoms and if they are realizing this and aspiring in this, then they will be able to easily chant the holy name of the Lord. And always, not that we complete our 16 rounds and we are done. Here it is mentioned, always chanting the holy name of the Lord. You need not be having the bead bag, but constantly in your mind, you are remembering the Lord through his holy name. So, what does it mean to be lower than the grass? So, we may see grass is just grown on the ground over there, and people just stample over it. Nobody even recognizes it, right? So, one should be think himself lower than the grass. So the grass itself is in a lower position and everyone is keep trampling on it. Nobody is bothered also, or neither the grass shouts back to us that why are you stamping on me, right? It just goes on tolerating over there. So one needs to think himself in that position. So So following this, all this four, that being lower than the grass, more tolerant than a tree. So in the next verses, we have seen that how a tree tolerates. So it it is just growing over there, even if nobody waters it or it dries up, it does not ask anyone to water it or give shade to it. So basically, and what does a tree do? The tree is providing fruits, flowers, everything. And how is a tree when the tree is loaded with fruits and flowers? How is the tree? It is just bended over there because it has been loaded with so much of fruits and flowers. It is just bowing his head down over there. So that is the position of a tree, that just being humbler over there. So even when it is there are heavy rain or whether it is heavy sunlight, it is just going on tolerating the heat and the rainfall. So the tree is just being there tolerating that. And what else it is doing? It is also providing shade for others, right? So So what we can understand here from the tree, that a Vaishnava or a devotee who is a true Vaishnava, he is always willing to give shelter to others, just like the tree. So the tree also gives shelters to many animals, many birds, right? They make their nests over there. So similarly, a Vaishnava is always willing to give shelter to others or share his life for others just for the welfare of others. Like just how the tree provides fruits and flowers, right? So, and even the wood is been used for firewood, right? So in many ways the tree is been useful for others. So similarly, a Vaishnava is always willing for to serve the others for the welfare of them, and there is no selfishness over there. The same thing with the tree or the grass. That means I, me, mine is not at all there. So not at all ever willing to uh, we can see that how a devotee is always willing to give himself or herself. And here we see that the tree does not protest when it is being put in heavy rains or heavy sunshine or a heavy hair flow is there. So it does not protest over there, it just stands over there. So a devotee is also just like that, he does not protest. Whatever difficulty comes, it just, the devotee just tolerates. So we have seen the example of Haridas Thakur, where he just tolerated when he was whipped in 21, uh, when he was beaten in 21 times in the marketplace. He did not protest. And but what was he praying at the time? That to protect the soldiers, because they have been given order by the king that they need to somehow beat and kill Haridas Thakur, and they were trying to do that, but somehow the Lord is protecting Haridas Thakur, and he is asking the Lord to protect the soldiers. And it is also been mentioned that how the actually the Lord himself took all the blows on his own back while protecting Haridas Thakur. And Haridas Thakur just goes into semi-conscious and his breathlessness. So seeing that, the soldier thinks that he has he is dead, and they just put him in the dangerous water. And after some time he comes into conscious, and he just goes back and reports to the king that I won't be here, I'll just move out from this place. So that is how Haridas Thakur has tolerated. So that is how we see how the devotee or a Vaishnava shows off the humility in nature. But one more thing we have to understand here, we cannot imitate of what Haridas Thakur did. In places, humility does not mean that you allow somebody else to come and sit on your head. No. Here we are just trying to show the humble nature of us so that we will be able to chant the holy name of the Lord. And here, what is it mean? That amanina manadena. So we should not be accepting any personal honor or any credit for ourselves. And also, we need to give respect to everyone. So we have seen that it is so difficult that we always expect some or the other respect, or if we have done something, we if nobody gives us credit for what we have done, we are in an anger mood, right? So we always like to take credit for things which we have done, and if not credited for that, we are in a different mood. And there are people who like to take credit for things which they have not done, because they want the fame name which they see which others are getting, so even they want to get that. So it is very difficult to accept this humility of being lower than the grass, being more tolerant than a tree, and not expecting any honor for ourselves or no respect for ourselves, and giving respect for others. So these qualities are actually like the four jewels, you can tell, which can be the character of a pure devotee of the Lord. So Srila Prabhupada mentions that if we just develop these four qualities, that just being lower than the grass and being tolerant than a tree and not expecting any respect for ourselves and giving respect for others, if we just follow this, then that is the perfection of life. But it is not so easy to develop these qualities. Actually, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj mentions that we may, it's not easy to develop an humility like that. We may need to desire to have such humility, because humility is something which comes from the heart in front of the Lord or his servants. So it is completely, it is humility here, it means to give completely ourselves and completely depend only on the mercy of the Lord, not on based on our own intelligence or whatever. So we have to chant in that humility. So we should not chant in humility of gaining something in return for our own sense gratification. So Maharaj here mentions that to perform being humility, it is to be given by the Lord Himself to us. It is not that something we can develop ourselves to be a humbler, a person with such an humility. So we need to aspire to become humble, and we need to desire to take that austerity of being taken in the servant position. So what we understand here, Trinadapi Sunechana, in this verse, that we need to accept ourselves in the servant position. So which quality of among the 9 process of devotional practices comes here is dhasyam, the servant of the servant position. So we, when we seriously aspire and we take that austerity also to be in that servant or the servant position, like by practicing menial service to the Lord, because everyone wants to do services which are recognized, right? So when we start doing menial service which are in the back stage or which is not recognized by anyone, so when we start practicing menial services, then we can expect some form of humility in us. So Maharaj is telling us here that we need to desire the austerity of to be considered as being the servant of the servant of the servant, not by our words, but also by following it and following the four regulative principles and whatever sadhaka should be following. So when we are following that and we are doing, then seeing our aspiration that we want to become humble, and in that humble position we want to chant the holy name of the Lord. Seeing that humility, Krishna then provides it to us. Then Krishna may decide that I can award humility to this. So that is how it is very difficult to be in this humility, accept this, develop this humility or being humble over here. But nevertheless, we can at least practice, or when every day we are reciting this Shikshastakam, at least try to adopt that mood and try to chant the holy name of the Lord. So among the Sikshastakam, this is the important one. If we try to develop or desire for being the servant of the Lord and develop this humility, then we will be able to chant the holy name of the Lord very easily. That is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is mentioning it here. So hopefully we develop that desire to become humble and be able to chant the holy name of the Lord always. And he is explaining about the, so a person who is very exalted, he always thinks himself to be lower than the grass and tolerant like a tree and not expecting any uh, respect for himself. So he is prideless and he gives all respect to everyone. So knowing that the Lord is present in everyone's heart. And then uh, so so in this manner, when we chant the holy name, then there is certainty of dormant love for Krishna's love arising in our heart. This is being assured here by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And telling this, there is humility increasing in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he is praying to Krishna that he could develop this love for Krishna and he can also tell it to others. So, and here in this one of the purport, it is mentioned that wherever there is relationship of love of Godhead, so that's a natural symptom which has been shown in the devotee. So Um, here also Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in the purport he is mentioning about devotee who falsely advertise that he is a great devotee. A pure devotee does not even advertise, and he thinks himself that he is nowhere else considered as a devotee. He does not even have a drop of love for Krishna. So he is in that humble position, a person, a pure devotee who is always exhibiting love for Krishna. So, but we can see a class of devotees who display devotional symptoms, but they are pretending. So, they are falsely showing that humility or that falsely showing that pure love for Krishna. So, they are just doing some, uh, they are just pretending. So, those are called as prakata sahajiyas. So, so we need to be uh, we should not have this duplicity of showing the love for Krishna if we don't have it in our heart. So basically we we should not have this duplicity at all, because Krishna who is residing in our heart, at least he will know that what is there in our heart. So showing off or displaying some devotional symptoms just to get some fame and name is not going to help us in anywhere. We are just going down over in our devotional practices. So exhibiting this devotional symptoms or pretending to show some devotional features that how great devotee I am. So all this is just waste of energy and time for us. And also, as I mentioned, Krishna is in our heart. So if we show this duplicity, Krishna is not be pleased with us. Why we are chanting the holy name is we want to please Krishna. We want to get that love for Krishna. So duplicitly, if we try to exhibit or pretend, it's not going to help us. So all those who try to pretend here also, so those are called about sahajiyas. So that has been mentioned here by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So we'll quickly go to the 29th verse. Swati Mataji, you can recite.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandot
Dandot Pranam.
Janam na janam na sundarim kavitam va jagadisha kamaye mama jannani jannani sware bhavatad bhaktir ahaituki tvai. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O Lord of the universe, I don't desire material wealth, materialistic followers, a beautiful wife, or fruitive activities described in the flowery language. All I want, life after life, is unmotivated devotional service to you.
Uh, Uma Mataji, you can recite the next verse.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandot Pranam.
Dhana Jana Nahi Magan Kavita Sundari Shuddha Bhakti Deha More Krishna Krupa Kari. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear Lord Krishna, I do not want material wealth from you, nor do I want followers, a beautiful wife, or the results of fruitive activities. I only pray that by your causeless mercy, you give me pure devotional service to you, life after life. Hare Krishna
Okay.
Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Kripamai Mataji, you can recite the next verse.
Am I audible, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Text 31. Adi deni punyamage dasya bhakti dana apanare kare samsari jiva abhimana. Translation Prabhupada KG. In great humility, considering himself a conditioned soul of material world, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again expressed his desire to be endowed with service to the Lord. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So here we are in the fourth verse of Shikshastakam. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaye, mama janmani janmanishware, bhavatad bhaktir ahittuki tvai. So here actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling us how we should be praying to the Lord and what we should be praying to the Lord. So, what is the Lord praying here? That I do not desire material wealth, nor followers, nor a beautiful wife, or some fruitive activities described in flowery language. So, some fruitive results or some desires, material desires. I want a bungalow like this. In front of that, there should be a garden like this, and in that garden, this flowers, that trees, right? So we can go on desiring in our material desires in an unlimited way, right? So that is described here as flowery language. But what is the Lord desiring? That Mama Janmani Janmanishwari, life after life, is unmotivated devotional service to you. I just want to practice devotional service to you. And what is that devotional practice? He is mentioning unmotivated. So there is no anything. He is not desiring to do the devotional practices to gain some material things. If I chant 16 rounds, please give me this house, please give me that car. No, he's telling unmotivated devotional service onto you, life after life. So here we can see Vandanam over here, how we can pray. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching us that how we should be praying to the Lord and what we should be praying to the Lord. Sometimes what happens is we don't know what to pray to the Lord, and even the Lord, if he comes in front of us, we ask for petty things. So Prabhupada here gives one example of an old lady who was living her life by selling the woods, cutting the wood, cutting the trees, bark, and twigs, and all, and just going and selling in the market. And if there is a dead tree, then she'll just collect those dead trees, wood, and all, and then just go to the market and sell them and live her life. So once she was carrying this bundle of wood on her head and just going over there to the marketplace, but the bundle of wood which was there on her head, it just, what happens, it just slips from her head. So when it just slips from her head, there the Lord just comes in front of her and asks her, what do you want? What should I do for you? So so what does this old lady does? She just tells that, please keep that block of wood which has fallen down back again on my head so that I could go to the market and sell them. So now the Supreme Personality of Godhead has appeared in front of you and is asking you something. but we are so much conditioned and we are in so much into our own things that we don't recognize the Lord, nor we don't know what to accept from Him, right? Nor we know what to pray to Him, nor we know what she could have asked to the Lord, right? She could have asked that at least I am suffering so much, I am cutting this wood, all those things, I am tired, I am an old lady, I'm struggling so much, right? She could have asked anything, but our conditioned mind that we don't, other than our material desires or our any small desires, we don't know how to pray to the Lord. So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling us that we should not ask for all these material things. Why? Because the Lord provides us, right? Whatever is needed, He will provide us. Who provides the elephant or the ants, or there are so many living entities? Who is providing them? The Lord is providing. The person who does not believe in Lord, who is not having any faith in the Lord, is also been provided. The atheist is also been provided by the Lord. So why does not the Lord will provide the devotees who are practicing devotional practices? It does not mean that we should stop doing our work or whatever is been assigned for us, but we should have that faith in the Lord, and we should not ask for materialistic things, because whatever is needed for our living, the Lord will assure to us. Whatever is required for us, He will provide us. So what we can always ask is for devotional service. We can always ask for love of Godhead. So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is showing us that through this, that how we can get rid of ourselves from the material desires, and how we can pray for devotional service, and how we can achieve love for Krishna. He is only asking that in this uh, verse of Shikshastakam. So we'll end here. We'll continue in the next session from the next verse. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंतकोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय। जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। कृष्ण कविराज गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। थैंक यू सो मच। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dhanavad
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण।